data for decision making. We pray that you may bless this launch, and we ask that you may guide us in our discussions. We ask for wisdom that comes only from you. This we pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Please be seated. Mr. Christopher Corbin, Coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, United Nations Environment Program. Ms. Isabel Vanderbeck, Jeff IWECO Task Manager. Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director, Surveillance Disease Prevention and Control from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA. Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head of the Environmental Sustainability Division, Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission. Mr. Alwyn Donnelly, Chief Forestry Officer, Forestry Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security, and Cooperatives. Senior government officials, IWECO focal points and national project coordinators, development partners, colleagues, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the launch of the Regional Environmental Monitoring Data Portal. Once again, those who have traveled to be here, I hope that your journey was a good one, and I once again welcome you to the beautiful island of St. Lucia. I am Farzana Yusuf Leon, Technical Specialist within the Environmental Sustainability Division at the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission, and this morning, your Chair of Proceedings. I now invite Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head of the Environmental Sustainability Division of the OECS Commission, to deliver welcome and opening remarks. Mr. Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you, Farzana. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Christopher Corbin, Coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, UNEP. Ms. Isabel Vanderbeck, Jeff IWECO Task Manager. Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director, Surveillance Disease Prevention and Control from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA. Mr. Forestry Officer, Forestry Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Cooperatives, St. Lucia. Senior government officials, IWECO focal points and national project coordinators, development partners, colleagues, the media, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Good morning and welcome to the launch of the Regional Environmental Monitoring Data Portal, REMDAP. It has been recognized, or some may say, arguably, that halfway through the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the world is probably not on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Oh, how do we know? In the foreword of the data strategy of the Secretary General for Action by Everyone, Everywhere, Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, states that data permeates all aspects of our work, and its power, harnessed responsibly, is critical to the global agenda we serve. Environmental management plays a crucial role in sustainable development, and understanding how environmental systems work through the availability and use of data and information will lead to better positioning for the future we want. The acquisition and analysis of environmental data is becoming increasingly valuable to decision makers in all sectors of society for a variety of reasons, such as to evaluate the degree of compliance for private sector, to build awareness for civil society, for better understanding of its interconnectivity to human health and well-being, to analyze trends and increase understanding through science, and for more science-based policies by the public sector for effective and transformative governance. The GEF-funded Integrated Water, Land, and Ecosystems Management in Caribbean Small Island Development States, also known as Jeff IW Eco Project, began implementation in 2016 with a long-term goal to enhance the sustainable flow of ecosystem services and the contribution to sustainable socioeconomic development in the Caribbean through the application of appropriate solutions for the improved integrated management of water, land, and biological resources. The United Nations Environment Program's Caribbean Environment Program, UNEP-CEP or CEP, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAFA, are co-executing agencies with the OECS Commission as joint implementing agency for component 3 of the project with CAFA, under which a regional environmental monitoring data portal, or REMDAP, was developed. The REMDAP was recommended based on a feasibility study conducted in 2020, and it was further determined to be a priority initiative for the region based on national stakeholder consultations in which 8 IW Eco countries participated. In December 2022, the consulting firm WSP UK Limited was contracted to develop and implement the REMDAP in Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. Based on stakeholder consultations, the consultant defined a vision, objectives, and intended use of the REMDAP. They also explored with country stakeholders and development partners a preferred option for the establishment of a REMDAP clearinghouse mechanism, along with data requirements based on reporting obligations associated with multilateral environmental agreements and frameworks and other stakeholder territory commitments. The REMDAP was developed and tested in the aforementioned countries, and training was conducted with relevant stakeholders to use and manage the REMDAP. The REMDAP is linked to national and regional data repositories and acts as the national database to countries that do not yet have their own. In an effort to establish a regional environmental information system, the OECS Commission has collaborated and synergized with multiple partners and initiatives, including the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, on an enhanced program of action in the Eastern Caribbean for the implementation of the shared data and reporting obligations and aspirations of the ESCASO Agreement and the SGD 2040, that is the revised St. George's Declaration of Principles for Environmental Sustainability in the Eastern Caribbean, while contributing to the wider 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda goals and key multilateral environmental agreements. Another important area of cooperation is with the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN, whereby the hosting of the Caribbean Protected Areas Gateway, or CPAC, a regional resources and information hub, which stems from the Global Biodiversity and Protected Areas Management BIOPAMA program, an initiative financed through the European Union, will soon be transferred to the OECS Commission for enhanced sustainability and synergy. It is recognized that there are multiple initiatives and projects which generate data and develop data management systems throughout the region. However, the collaboration proposed and executed through partnership with regional development partners seeks to reduce duplication of efforts and maximize efficiencies in the use of resources. The REMDAP, therefore, forms part of a regional environmental information ecosystem which seeks to provide linkages and allow accessibility between and among portals, web pages, and systems. It is also anticipated that the REMDAP would help to reduce the burden on member states when updating databases and in accessing much needed data and information. The OECS Council of Ministers for Environmental Sustainability has endorsed the exploration of specific collaboration by the OECS Commission and member states with ECLAC, CPAG, REMDAP, and aligned initiatives and agencies towards the establishment of an appropriate, interoperable, integrated, and sustainable core or central repository and decision support tool for environmental related data in the OECS in keeping with the regional EIS roadmap. And at its 10th regular meeting in Anguilla last year, July, the Council also established a standing committee on information and networking to provide overall strategic guidance and support. Later this year, the REMDAP will be introduced in the remaining 4 OECS member states, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Montserrat, Anguilla, and the Virgin Islands, with support from the Biodiversity Support Program in ACP Coastal Environments, or the Biospace Project, which the OECS is also leading. And so, as I close, the OECS Commission recognizes strength in partnership and looks forward to continued collaboration for enhanced data integrity and accessibility in the region. So, as I welcome you to this launch, I also call for your continued cooperation and commitment to this journey and this vision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for setting the context for us. Certainly, data permeates all aspects of our work. Now we will be having project partner remarks. So I will invite Mr. Christopher Corbin, coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, UNEP. Is Christopher Corbin online? He indicated that he would be joining us online, but may be unavailable. So let's just double check quickly. Okay. Those of us who know Mr. Christopher Corbin, if he was online, he would have unmuted his mic. So in just the event that he would not be able to make it, he had indicated apologies, but there was an emergency this morning and he may not be able to make it. So he sent a recording, not that one, keep it the other one. He sent a pre-recording with his remarks on behalf of the UNEP. Yes, all right. So, Mr. Christopher Corbin, coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, UNEP.
Good morning. Ms. Isabel Vanderbeck, the Jeff IW Eco Manager from the United Nations Environment Program, Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control, Caribbean Public Health Agency, Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head of the Environmental Sustainability Division at the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission, Mr. Alvin Donnelly, Chief Forestry Officer, Forestry Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, project coordinators, development partners, colleagues, the media, friends, a very warm good morning and welcome. And I would normally say welcome home, but unfortunately I can't be in St. Lucia for this very significant launch due to other commitments here in Jamaica. My name is Chris Corbin. I am the coordinator of the UNEP Cartagena Convention Secretariat, one of the co-executing agencies for the Jeff I.W. Eco project. And this launch here this morning is indeed a celebration of the importance of data and information management for the OECS countries and for projects like the JEF. I thought I would start these brief remarks maybe by a bit of a reflection as to why this activity was included in the Jeff I.W. Eco project in the first place. As many of you know, we have significant challenges with the generation, the use, the archiving, and the storage of environmental data and information. Data and information needed for decision making, for informing policies, for reporting on national, regional, and global commitments, and also for general public awareness and education. In designing the Jeff I.W. Eco project, it was recognized that we needed to have a systematic, sustainable approach to data and information management, and hence REMDAP. I would like, first of all, to congratulate the OECS and the many of you as focal points who contributed so significantly to this effort, not to mention the consultants who work arduously on getting this platform put together. I'd also like to congratulate the OECS on the vision that they saw this REMDAP not just as a project output, but as something that could be internalized as part of a broader sub-regional environmental information system. This is the same approach that we are using as a secretariat. It's very important for us as the Cartagena Convention, as the only legally binding agreement for protection of the Caribbean Sea, that we also see ourselves as a clearinghouse for information regarding the state of the environment, both the terrestrial environment as well as the coastal and marine environment. And therefore, our own regional environmental information system, which we developed recently to provide information about the state of coastal and marine environment, very much complements this effort under the Jeff I.W. Eco project. The importance of data and information, as I mentioned, is not just to report on multilateral environmental agreements or on sustainable development goals. Data and information must be seen as an integral part of the decision-making process. It must be seen as a mechanism to facilitate greater public awareness and outreach. It must be seen as a platform through which our decisions, policy decisions, political decisions are evaluated, and so that we can correct course, take action as needed. This is just a start, we believe, of a framework that will continue to provide a mechanism for feeding national data and information and even citizen science. Therefore, the emphasis is not just on the OECS or the Secretariat or UNEP or even new projects to generate that data and information, but for national focal points, national governments to see the value of such information in decision-making processes. Too long, environmental data is lagged behind economic data and social data, and it must be seen as a critical part of that, what we used to call the triple bottom line, so that when we look at aspects of sustainable development, we look at all aspects of data generation and management. Again, my apologies for not being there in person, and I do wish I wish this platform really continues to be used and is value for all, not just the countries who are involved in I.W. Eco, but the region as a whole. Thank you very much. Good morning. Ms. Isabel Vanderbeck, the Jeff IW Eco Task Manager from the United Nations Environment Program. Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director, Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control, Caribbean Public Health Agency. Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head of the Environmental Sustainability Division at the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission. Mr. Alvin Donnelly, Chief Forestry Officer, Forestry Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Cooperatives of St. Lucia. Senior government officials, National IW Eco Focal Points and National Project Coordinators, development partners, colleagues, the media, friends, a very warm good morning and welcome. And I would normally say welcome home, but unfortunately I can't be in St. Lucia for this very significant launch due to other commitments here in Jamaica. My name is Chris Corbin. I am the coordinator of the UNEP Cartagena Convention Secretariat, one of the co-executing agencies for the Jeff IW Eco project. And this launch here this morning is indeed a celebration of the importance of data and information management for the OECS countries and for projects like the Jeff. I thought I would start these brief remarks maybe by a bit of a reflection as to why this activity was included in the Jeff IW Eco project in the first place. As many of you know, we have significant challenges with the generation, the use, the archiving, and the storage of environmental data and information. Data and information needed for decision making, for informing policies, for reporting on national, regional, and global commitments, and also for general public awareness and education. In designing the Jeff IW Eco project, it was recognized that we needed to have a systematic, sustainable approach to data and information management, and hence REMDAP. I would like, first of all, to congratulate the OECS and the many of you as focal points who contributed so significantly to this effort, not to mention the consultants who work arduously on getting this platform put together. I'd also like to congratulate the OECS on the vision that they saw this REMDAP not just as a project output, but as something that could be internalized as part of a broader sub-regional environmental information system. This is the same approach that we are using as a secretariat. It's very important for us as the Cartagena Convention, as the only legally binding agreement for protection of the Caribbean Sea, that we also see ourselves as a clearinghouse for information regarding developed recently to provide information about the state of coastal and marine environment very much complements this effort under the Jeff IW Eco project. The importance of data and information, as I mentioned, is not just to report on multilateral environmental agreements or on sustainable development goals. Data and information must be seen as an integral part of the decision-making process. It must be seen as a mechanism to facilitate greater public awareness and outreach. It must be seen as a platform through which our decisions, policy decisions, political decisions are evaluated, and so that we can correct course, take action as needed. This is just a start, we believe, of a framework that will continue to provide a mechanism for feeding national data and information and even citizen science. Therefore, the emphasis is not just on the OECS or the Secretariat or UNEP or even new projects to generate that data and information, but for national focal points, national governments to see the value of such information in decision-making processes. Too long, environmental data has lagged behind economic data and social data.
To public awareness, to increase public awareness. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director, Surveillance Disease Prevention and Control at the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA. Dr. Horace Cox. He will be joining us virtually. Dr. Horace Cox. You are unmuted and we can see your camera, but we're not hearing you.
Okay, sorry, I don't know if that was directed to me, but you were just unmuted, so I can now hear you.
I see.
All right.
Apologies. Yes, I just introduced you, Dr. Cox. Please go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Christopher Corbin, Coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, UNEP. Ms. Isabel Vanderbeck, Jeff, IWE Co-Task Manager, Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head Environmental Sustainability Division, Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission, Mr. Alwyn Dornelli, Chief Forestry Officer, Forestry Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Cooperatives, senior government officials, IWE co-focal points and national project coordinators, development partners, media, colleagues all. Good morning. It is my pleasure to bring you warm greetings on behalf of Dr. Joyce St. John, the Executive Director of CARPHA, who, due to pressing matters, is not able to join us today. And so, as we've heard from the other speakers, we say data, data, data. And when we say this, we realize that this is a recurrent regional challenge that is laden with golden opportunities. Whether it's to inform the creation of bespoke national and regional interventions, or to support resource mobilization efforts tied to SAVE, the role of accessible data must never be understated. Interestingly, for one to maximize the potential benefit from available data, one must overcome a critical challenge that transcends most, if not all, sectors, that being data sharing and management. As optimistic as we endeavor to be in accessing these opportunities mentioned, the reality is that the skepticism around data sharing is a real issue which is not country nor sector specific. Colleagues, partners, stakeholders all, CARPHA registers its delight with the Regional Environmental Monitoring Data Portal initiative. We recognize the earlier work under the IWCAM, our partnership with the UNEP and the Cartagena Secretariat in the co-implementation of the overall IWECO project, the work completed in Component 2 to develop a regional compendium of multilateral environmental agreements and their accompanying indicators which laid the important groundwork for development of the system, and 4, our partnership with the OECS Commission to co-execute Component 3 of the project, which now bears the fruit of REMDAP. REMDAP is a bold step in the right direction for our region and highlights what is possible when we agree to confront our challenges and institute useful solutions. As the region's public health agency, we recognize the relationship between the environment and human health and the need for continued reinforcement of SAVE. This initiative is embedded in a wider project, which is a multifocal regional initiative that builds upon previous work done to address water, land, and biodiversity resource management, as well as climate change. At the opening of COP28 last year, His Excellency Antonio Gutierrez, Secretary General of the United Nations, said, "Our planet is minutes to midnight for the 1.5 degree limit." The global stocktake at the 2023 meeting demonstrated that progress has been too slow across all areas of climate action, inclusive of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, strengthening resilience to climate change, and allocation of the necessary financial support to vulnerable nations. Caribbean small island development states remain uniquely challenged by our vulnerabilities to global warming and climate change. Our challenges are grounded in issues of size, capacity, and high exposure to exogenous shocks. The Sustainable Development Priorities of SIDS are captured in the plethora of international conventions and agreements, as demonstrated in the IWECO Compendium report. The small open economies of our Caribbean islands have still not recovered from shocks experienced over the past decade and more recently the COVID-19 pandemic. Our financial and institutional infrastructure and healthcare systems have been challenged, and greater inequities in social welfare access have been revealed. Climate change has already shown significant impacts. Increasing global temperatures, rising sea levels, extreme weather conditions, acidification of oceanic waters, prolonged droughts, fires, and intense storms have been experienced globally. CARFA recognizes there's a wealth of data and experience in our region. Yet, while noting that in many instances there's a disparity between the data available at national level and that which may be accessible at the regional level and reported to all international entities. All project partners are hopeful of REMDAP's role in addressing this disparity. Finally, CARFA recognizes the demonstration of political will by partnering member states in their acceptance of and participation in REMDAP. As such, CARFA remains invested in the sustainability of the system post-project. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Horace Cox, for those remarks. At this time, we will now have the address on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Cooperatives St. Lucia and the IWECO National Focal Point Ministry. I now invite Mr. Alwyn Donnelly, Chief Forestry Officer.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Christopher Cobbin, Coordinator of the Cartagena Convention Secretariat, UNEP, Ms. Isabel van der Beek, the Jeff IWECO Task Manager, Dr. Horace Cox, Assistant Director and Surveillance Disease Prevention and Control of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, Mr. Chamberlain Emmanuel, Head Environmental Sustainability Division, Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States Commission, distinguished guests, senior government officials, IWECO focal points, and national project coordinators, development partners, colleagues, the media. Again, a pleasant good morning to you all, and a warm welcome to St. Lucia, to those of you who are visiting, and you as well, St. Lucian citizens, may be here for just a short moment. On behalf of the Minister of Agriculture and the wider Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Forestry, it is indeed an honor to address you here today on a crucial initiative that holds significant importance for the sustainable development and environmental stewardship of our beloved islands, our beloved states, and the country, the region, at large. The Regional Environmental Monitoring Data Portal project, what we are now becoming familiar with, if not as REMDAP, it's a groundbreaking endeavor which we believe aims at centralizing environmental data collection, analysis, and dissemination across the states and across the region. This initiative brings together various stakeholders, including government agencies, research institutions, non-governmental organizations, communities, to create a comprehensive platform for, among other things, monitoring and managing environmental resources. For our states, and I can safely say for St. Lucia, but yes, for other country states as well, who are blessed with rich biodiversity and other natural resources. The implementation of this project holds immense significance for all of us. It provides us with a tool to enhance our environmental monitoring capabilities, make informed policy decisions, and safeguard our ecosystems for our benefit and the benefit of future generations. And as you would have heard, some of those objectives, facilitate real-time monitoring of environmental parameters such as, air quality, water quality, biodiversity, conservation, land use, enable data sharing and collaboration among regional partners, and to address common environmental challenges, and also support evidence-based policy making by providing accurate and up-to-date information on environmental trends and threats. But permit me to extend to go beyond just the REMDAP project and just to talk a little bit about other areas of the IWICO, particularly as relating to St. Lucia. The IWICO project would have been launched in 2016, but the implementation, particularly in St. Lucia, started around 2017. And during that time, our current minister was the then Chief Forestry Officer. So he does have this essential critical link with the IRICO project. The IRICO project has played a critical role in ensuring the sustainable development of our small island states and channeled through integrated approaches that consider the interconnectedness of water resources, land use, and ecosystems in achieving long-term sustainability goals. The focus on enhancing livelihoods as well has been tremendous, including production and distribution of over 20,000 plants of economic value to over 100 beneficiaries. And also, we've seen the development or the initiation thereof of an agro-tourism park. Locally, the project has also, from time to time, employed a number of community persons within the immediate environment, and we're talking about the Soufrière, within the Soufrière, Font Saint-Jacques area, where I think some of us would be visiting on Thursday. Yes. It is by holistically adopting integrated water, land, and ecosystems management practices that we can address the unique challenges faced by all of us, small islands, developing states, so that we can better manage the natural resources and promote sustainable development. The project also aligns with key sustainable development goals, such as ensuring access to clean water, promoting responsible land use practices, and conserving biodiversity. These goals are essential for improving the quality of life for citizens, while safeguarding the environment for future generations. Given the vulnerability of small island developing states to climate change impacts, by adopting integrated sustainable practices, we can better adapt to changing environmental conditions and mitigate against the associated risks. In addition, through capacity building initiatives, partnerships, and collaboration with international, regional, and local organizations, communities, and other stakeholders, our objectives can best be achieved. Such networks are also essential platforms for sharing knowledge, resources, and best practices. REMDAP provides our islands with a centralized platform to monitor and manage environmental data effectively. This allows for better tracking of environmental changes, identification of trends, and assessment of the impact of human activities on the environment, on our environment. By having access to a comprehensive database of environmental information through the REMDAP portal, policymakers, government agencies, and other stakeholders can make informed decisions regarding environmental conservation, resource management, sustainable development in general. The availability of reliable data can also lead to evidence-based policies that benefit both the environment and our local communities, as well. The REMDAP project also is a means for promoting transparency by making environmental data easily accessible to the public. This transparency can help build the trust between government agencies, organizations, and citizens in general by demonstrating a commitment to open communication and accountability in environmental matters. The project also contributes to our capacity building by providing training for local professionals in data collection, analysis, and interpretation, and by enhancing the skills of individuals involved in environmental monitoring. Our countries can strengthen our ability to address environmental issues more effectively and sustainability. Also, with access to historical data and real-time monitoring capabilities, which hopefully that is offered by the portal, St. Lucia as well as our other islands can engage in long-term environmental planning, including forecasting potential environmental challenges, setting conservation goals, and implementing strategies that would mitigate the risks and protect our natural resources. The success of the REMDAP project thus hinges on strong partnerships, strong collaboration among all parties. And by working together towards a common goal, we can leverage each other's expertise and resources to build a robust monitoring system that benefits all country parties. But while we've embarked on this ambitious project, we must acknowledge too the challenges ahead. From data standardization to capacity building, there are hurdles that require collective effort and innovative solutions. However, these challenges also present opportunities for growth, learning, and sustainable development. In conclusion, I urge all of us, all of you, stakeholders, to actively engage in the REMDAP project. Let us seize this opportunity to shape a more resilient and environmentally conscious future for our islands and the wider region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Donnelly, for elaborating on the importance of data accessibility and environmental monitoring, and also the benefits of the REMDAP and the Jeff IWECO project. At this time, we will be having a presentation on the overview of environmental information systems in the region and the purpose of the REMDAP. And I will be delivering that presentation to you. So if you give me a few moments just to share my screen. Okay. So we'll start with why do we need effective data and information systems? Environmental planning and management for sustainable development require an understanding of complex ecosystems to ensure decisions and strategies have the desired short, medium, and long-term effects. This understanding must be grounded in robust, objective, and data-driven models, and these, in turn, inform evidence-based decision-making. The availability of reliable, up-to-date, and comprehensive data sets, nationally and regionally, is pivotal to environmental planning and management, including assessment and monitoring. Easily available data and information will also assist member states in reporting on regional environmental frameworks and multilateral environmental agreements, such as the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals 2030, the St. George's Declaration of Principles for Environmental Sustainability, SGD 2040, and the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, just to name a few. In 2020, an initial assessment of the environmental information system frameworks at the regional and national levels was conducted to undertake a gap and needs analysis in the OECS region. It was recognized that many countries do not have central repositories for data and information. Data may be available, but it is decentralized and not so easily accessible. I'm sure we can all relate to that. Data and information are not easily available to monitor progress relating to regional and international frameworks or to facilitate data-driven decision-making nationally. Knowing that many countries have acceded to or ratified MEAs, reporting is necessary also for specific indicators and will require the acquisition and combination of data from different agencies or organizations to create a value-added data product. Additionally, to support national actions for environmental sustainability, data-driven decision-making is necessary. It was therefore recognized that there is benefit to developing an OECS regional environmental information system. And the OECS Commission was mandated by the OECS Council of Ministers for Environmental Sustainability to operationalize an OECS REIS. This OECS REIS, or REIS, is expected to provide the region with a comprehensive platform to access data, display information to support policy and decision-making dialogues, identify trends, and serve as a one-stop shop and searchable portal for information. This slide provides a visualization of the structure of the REIS. An OECS REIS requires the interlinking of existing individual environmental information systems and data portals of the OECS member states based on the 6 strategic priority goals of the SDG 2040. In some instances, the system will serve as the primary environmental information system for the member states that do not have an environmental information system. Thus, both approaches are cost-effective based on a combination of existing environmental information systems, sources, and institutional arrangements. When we consider information systems, platforms, and web pages, we recognize that there are many which exist regionally, each having their own specific purpose. Notably, there is the Caribbean Protected Areas Gateway, the UN ECLAC Statistical Databases and Publications, the UNEP World Environment Situation Room, the Global Green Growth Index, and the OECS GeoHub. Each system tracks specific indicators associated with multilateral environmental agreements or frameworks, or provides very specific data and information, and for different countries. We can consider this web of systems that you see displayed here, not just as individual systems, but more so as an ecosystem of information systems that support data management regionally. At the other end of the spectrum, there is also a concern about multiple systems that could potentially duplicate efforts or create resource challenges to maintain them. These are real challenges. However, through collaboration, building on what exists and linking these systems, we can reduce these challenges. The REMDAP was developed under the Integrating Water, Land, and Ecosystems Management in Caribbean Small Island Developing States project. Yes, that long name, the Jeff IW Eco project. WSP UK Limited was contracted to develop the REMDAP, and many of the concerns that I just shared were considered in the development of the REMDAP. The objective is to contribute to the preservation of Caribbean ecosystems and natural resources through the improvement of data availability. It will serve as a clearinghouse mechanism to strengthen the process of regional environmental monitoring and assessment. Implementation took place in the IW Eco participating states of Antigua and Barbados, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. Factors such as each country's reporting requirements, platform suitability, data integration, data security, and sustainability were considered. This is a screen grab of the REMDAP landing page. As you can see, most of the systems I presented in the earlier slide, showcasing regional systems, are linked on the REMDAP webpage. The REMDAP links and utilizes existing metadata, published datasets, and where relevant, country profiles currently maintained within the existing portals. This approach enables the REMDAP system to draw upon both the individual capabilities and strengths of the existing systems, avoiding unnecessary duplication. It forms part of the regional environmental information ecosystem. In further efforts to reduce duplication and to facilitate sustainability, regional systems were reviewed as a potential host for the REMDAP, instead of creating a completely separate portal. After a thorough review and feedback process by stakeholders, WSP recommended that the system should be hosted by the OECS Commission and based on OECS's existing ArcGIS online system capability, which is used by the GeoHub, which was again presented earlier. So this REMDAP provides data and information for decision making without allowing for duplication and considering sustainability. There are web maps available to visualize all spatial data for each territory and environmental dashboards for indicator monitoring. It also includes scope for the creation of future story maps. More on the REMDAP will be presented later this morning by the consultant WSP UK Limited, but this is just a quick snapshot. Data governance was also considered in the development of the REMDAP. Data access and usage policies were considered for inclusion in the portal, that is, how data can be used, shared, or accessed. In some cases, data may be openly available via geospatial and location-based services, or may need to be requested based on a data sharing agreement or protocol. Access control was also considered. For example, which groups of individuals, organizations, or conditions can have access to various types of data. Acknowledging that some data sets are commercially sensitive or otherwise need to be controlled access due to national security or other conditions which require restriction to access. It was recognized that many countries don't have specific data sharing agreements or procedures. Therefore, in order to populate data and information on the REMDAP, each participating country advised on a suitable REMDAP user trained in the use of the portal and capable of providing datasets and indicating accessibility of data, whether there can be public viewership or if permission needs to be requested. Of course, countries which have data sharing agreements, such as Antigua and Barbuda, would follow their specific applicable agreements. For countries which do not have agreements, it was recommended that the currently existing draft CARICOM data sharing agreement may be used as a template to develop their own, but this would be outside of the IWECO project. It's also noteworthy that a draft GIS data policies and procedures manual for the OECS has very recently been developed. This would assist countries with standardizing GIS data. As the IWECO project comes to an end, I'll now tell you about the measures being considered for sustainability with the support of key development partners. The REMDAP will be expanded to the Commonwealth of Dominica, Anguilla, the Virgin Islands, Montserrat, and additional training will be carried out under the EU-funded support program for ACP Small Island Developing States and Coastal Countries, also known as the Biospace Project. The OECS Commission will also host the Caribbean Protected Areas Gateway, also known as CPAG, in order to capitalize on synergies and enhance data availability. We also anticipate continued collaboration with development partners and synergistic projects. I hope that this presentation helps you to understand the ecosystem of information systems within our region, of which the REMDAP is a part. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for listening to that presentation and viewing. We will now move on to the demonstration of the REMDAP. And this will be done by Mr. Shane Pinder, lead consultant of WSP UK Limited. He has provided a video.
The REMDAP was developed to improve access to environmental information and serve as a clearinghouse mechanism to strengthen the process of regional environmental monitoring and assessment. It provides access to analytical tools and data infrastructure to support the access and sharing of environmental data and supports the ESCAZoo agreement. During this launch video, we will tell you about how the project worked to develop REMDAP, show you the platform, and illustrate some of its key features. WSP was contracted under the JEF IWECO project to lead this intervention and engage the project partners UNEP CEP, CARFA, and the OECS Commission, as well as national IWECO stakeholders and regional stakeholders in the development of REMDAP. The national IWECO focal points were involved in the creation and collection of environmental data at a national level and provided support on the inclusion of other national stakeholders involved in environmental data collection. This stakeholder engagement allowed us to understand the user requirements for the platform, their unique technical, financial, and resource capacities which need to be considered in platform development. A key component of platform development was evaluating the range of potential implementation solutions and coming up with a preferred option. Through stakeholder engagement, we were able to develop a set of criteria which were used to evaluate the potential implementation options. These criteria were developed based on our existing knowledge of platforms and implementation scenarios regionally and in our experience in working with development agencies, based on resources and infrastructure used to implement and maintain platforms, resources available from regional entities such as UNEP, CARFA, OECS, CPAG, and others, and their experiences in developing and maintaining platforms. We evaluated the options against the criteria, and over a 3-month period, were able to come to a consensus on the preferred option. During the platform development and population with data, we held virtual and face-to-face engagement with stakeholders to not only understand their requirements, but to work to collect data for populating the platform. We held a 2-day hybrid capacity building session with over 70 participants to train stakeholders on data collection, data management, and the administration of the platform. REMDAP was developed on OECS's existing ArcGIS Online, or AGOL, platform, extending its functionality to support access to environmental information. REMDAP's homepage provides access to national environmental portals, regional and global resources, access to partner sites, and useful materials such as the IWECO Indicator Compendium. Antigua and Barbuda has been one of the first countries to make their country page publicly accessible. In developing the pilot REMDAP, each country page is standardized. However, it can be customized by national stakeholders to illustrate a wide variety of environmental information, environmental indicators, and data. Each page contains 3 key sections. Firstly, an environmental dashboard, which provides an avenue to calculate and visualize environmental indicators for which data has been collected and being held. Secondly, a web application where spatial and non-spatial data can be loaded or linked to from national, regional, or international portals. Thirdly, search functionality, where countries have populated the platform with data and metadata, developed categories, and categorized the data using data tags. This allows the country data to be searchable via an intuitive interface. Finally, the project partners are working with national stakeholders to distribute remaining licenses and coordinate with national representatives to confirm public access to country pages. Future plans for the platform will see users coordinate and self-manage the platform, work on developing protocols for managing data, add more data and develop dashboards and web apps according to their needs, and finally, organically grow the use of the platform according to individual needs and data. Thank you.
A round of applause for Mr. Shane Pinder. Thank you so much for your earlier remarks and also for developing this video. I'm not sure if you have any closing remarks at this time for the video and for this segment.
No, I just wanted to say thanks again. No additional remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so as we move along in our agenda, we will now have testimonials from our IWECO participating states. First, we will hear from Jamaica, Mr. Eramonsele Akidenor, GIS Officer from the National Environment and Planning Agency. Mr. Akidenor?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good morning, we can hear you.
Okay. So it's a pleasure for me to be here to appreciate all the work that has been done. I will just share my screen in my testimonial. So I am on the REMDAP platform, so I have my presentation as a story map on the platform. Just confirm to me if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so thank you very much. So my name is Eramonsele Akidenor, and I'm the GIS coordinator at the National Environment and Planning Agency in Jamaica. And I was a beneficiary of the REMDAP training workshop held at the Bellevue Hotel, Castries, St. Lucia from 21st of August to the 22nd. This platform, which is the REMDAP platform, the goal was to enhance the ease of access to decision-making environmental data, provide useful environmental indicators, metrics, and methods to support environmental monitoring, support integration with other regional and national environmental information platforms as part of a regional environmental data ecosystem. I'll just give a brief overview of the REMDAP platform, and then I will show what we have been doing using the platform. Now, the monitoring data portal helps countries like Jamaica with their environmental data. The platform is like a central hub where all the information about the environment is kept and organized. Now, REMDAP makes it very easy for people to work with this data. It has special data collection tools like field maps, ArcGIS Collector, Quick Capture, and Survey 123, which are state-of-the-art data collection apps that can be used to collect information from the field. The platform is also equipped with ArcGIS dashboards, Experience Builder, Story Maps, amongst others, which can be used to show the data in a way that is easy to understand. These tools help people to see the information clearly and make smart decisions based on it. Just like Christopher Corbin has said, we are now able to engage citizens as part of citizen science using the platform itself. Now, basically, REMDAP is not just a regular data system, it's a superb and modern way to manage environmental information. It helps us to work together, work better, make better choices, and be more open about what we are doing. This is good for our organization and for the communities we care about. Now, after the training, with knowledge gained from the training, I'm now able to acquire national data sets and present them on the platform so that both GIS and non-GIS users can make informed decisions with the data presented. So I'm just going to show examples of some of the data that we have been able to include on the platform. The first one that you are seeing, permit me to, all right, this is part of the integrated coastal zone management in Jamaica. Right here we have these areas where we have the seagrass, we have the towns where those areas are located, major towns around the coastal areas in Jamaica. And then we have the different areas where we have seagrasses, where we have near shore, where we have the shorelines, the hinterland, and so on and so forth. This is part of our, our coastal assets, and so we are able to now show these coastal assets using the REMDAP platform. So these links can be sent to our stakeholders. It can be viewed on their mobile phones. It can be viewed on their computers and so on and so forth. So all we just do is send the link to them. Second is we are now able to integrate our data, put our data together. This was built using one of the extensions on the platform, which is the ArcGIS Hub. And what we have been able to do is to be able to put data sets together. Right here we have an external portal that we were using, which has been integrated to the platform itself. And this platform has a lot of data which can be used for application processing and so on and so forth. I have a list of data sets here. I can turn them on. I can add data from external sources. I can screen those data sets. I can conduct analysis. I can generate reports from this platform. Another app that we have on the platform is a dashboard. This dashboard is used for application processing. We are able to integrate the land use proposals, the density. We are able to integrate the application's reference number. It enables us to search for specific applications within specific areas and so on and so forth. And another thing is that we have integrated on this platform is a survey that was done by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica and the Planning Institute of Jamaica, which is the incidence of total poverty by community. So we were able to create a dashboard where we are able to show communities with high percentage of poverty and so on and so forth. And as you know, poverty plays a significant role in environmental degradation. So we are able to integrate, and also we have another dashboard on the platform which is felt earthquakes in Jamaica from 2014 to 2022. So we are able to look at the incidence by time and earthquake zone. So if I click on one of the points, it opens a pop-up and it takes me to the particular earthquake incident. Then for the sake of time, I just want to give special thanks to WSP, IWE-ECO, UN, and Caribbean Public Health Agency and the organization of the Eastern Caribbean state for giving us this opportunity. Now, this platform actually provides an avenue to host data, interrogate the data, provide security for the data to prevent external interference, and also the data can be shared with the public and other stakeholders all in one platform. So I would say in my closing remarks that this is actually what will revolutionize the way we interrogate and the way we manage environmental data in Jamaica. The platform has been very beneficial to us as a national agency, and we are looking forward to further improvement and to work with you as we go along. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akidinor. That was really quite wonderful, and I really appreciated the way that you went into the REMDAP, the actual website and portal, and you showed us the utility for Jamaica. That is really great. Thank you so much once again. At this time, we will have a testimonial from Antigua and Barbuda. Ms. Morgan Halstead, Geographic Information Systems Officer from the Department of Environment, Ministry of Health, Wellness, Social Transformation, and the Environment. Ms. Morgan Halstead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a pleasant good morning to everyone. Just to briefly introduce myself again, I am Morgan Halstead, and I serve as the GIS Officer for the Department of Environment in Antigua and Barbuda. I also act as the focal point for our nation's page on the REMDAP. So, like many others in the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda faces challenges concerning the availability and accessibility of environmental data. And this stems from factors such as data fragmentation, data management, and limited sharing policies. So while we do have national platforms to share environmental data and track indicators and the MEAs, the REMDAP presents a significant advancement for regional accessibility of our data through, and this aligns with the goals outlined in the ESCAZU agreement, which seeks to improve access to environmental information and public participation in decision-making processes. Moreover, the platform facilitates evidence-based policy development by providing scientific insights into environmental issues and trends. So while adhering strictly to the standards and protocols of data collection, management, and sharing of data, it ensures not only data quality, but also enhances reliability and credibility of data. So decision makers can leverage the REMDAP to basically engage with different stakeholders across various sectors. It can foster collaboration and dialogue around shared environmental goals, such as the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the Land Degradation Neutrality Program. Key features such as the environmental dashboard and the REMDAP web applications are integrated with our web-based open source platforms, and this provides visualization of geospatial environmental data that we have in the form of maps. Now, these data visualizations on the platform can enable stakeholders to explore, analyze, and interpret environmental data more effectively. The interactive maps on the platform can help to identify patterns, trends, and correlations in data while supporting evidence-based decision-making. So essentially, the REMDAP acts as a driver for positive change in improving data availability and transparency. And through its centralized platform, the users will have access to reliable environmental data. They'll be able to monitor progress and enhance capacity in effective environmental management. And this is not only just on the local scale, but regionally as well. And with this visibility to the public, it will help to strengthen transparency and accountability in environmental governance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Halstead. It certainly is wonderful to see that the REMDAP is useful and relevant at this time within our various countries, within the region, and to see the benefits, the alignment with the goals of the ESCAZO agreement, as you mentioned, and not only just allowing for data accessibility, but also for engagement with stakeholders, for monitoring, and for looking at trends. So thank you so much, Ms. Halstead. Now we are running just a little late, but we now have a few minutes for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Do we have any questions in the room? Yes, Ms. Vanderbeck.
Thank you. I just wanted to understand how you listed a number of countries which would join also the clearinghouse and the system, the platform per se. But those are not IWECO countries, and so I'm just thinking about Cuba and the Dominican Republic, and so wondering what is the plan. I know it's OECS focus, and OECS will sustain the platform over time, but is there a plan to connect as well with the other countries which are not currently in the system? So that's my question number one. Mm-hmm. My second question is, and we have Laverne here, there's a sister project which is called now ProCaribe Plus, but previously known as CLME and CLME Plus, which also looked at organizing the region in terms of having a central data management system. So I was wondering what was the plan to connect, as you all said in this suite of presentations, we don't want to duplicate, we want to enhance the systems and have a home for all of the different systems so that it's one roof, one central shop, and people can access information readily. So easily. So what are the plans to link to ProCaribe? That's my second question. And my third question is under IWECO. In part, we developed the SOCAR, the state of pollution for the Caribbean. Yeah, so an assessment of land-based sources of pollution to the Caribbean basin. So can the system actually be used for the second iteration of SOCAR? And also we know that the SOCAR is a piece of the State of the Environment reports done by ProCaribe Plus. So how and CLME Plus, yeah. So how do the pieces fit together, and can we use this super platform here to provide additional services at the regional level? Thank you.
Thank you for those questions. I will take a stab at it, and where necessary, my colleagues can fill in. For your first question, we did focus on 4 additional OECS countries, and that was due to the fact that it would be under the Biospace project, which is EU funded, but also implemented by the OECS Commission. But that is in the first instance, or for right now, that is. We are also exploring partnerships with other entities. So for example, the Caribbean Protected Areas Gateway, as well as the UN ECLAC, which looks at Latin American countries. So what we anticipate is that through these partnerships, there will be support to the other countries within the region, and not just necessarily OECS countries. So it is through partnerships that we hope to build on data accessibility and information for countries within the region. I will move on to the second question, and regarding CLME Plus and the link for the REMDAP. Actually, it would basically be the same for actually, perhaps, sorry, I will stick to the second question. CLME Plus, I believe, and WSP, Mr. Shane Pinder can correct me if I'm wrong, but they also explored this particular platform and the data available. So the idea is that we recognize that there are multiple systems, but they are linked. We can have that linkage. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to have the exact information from each being replicated or duplicated rather, but we will pull from what currently exists. And I am not certain if it is the link to it is on the REMDAP, but if it is not, we can certainly include the link to ensure that once persons visit the REMDAP, they can visit that website, visit that platform, and be able to access that data. As it relates to SOCAR, the land-based sources of pollution, we can consider what would be required, what reporting, what data, what indicators need to be measured, and see how it can be integrated. I don't think that that was fully fleshed out in the discussions, based on my memory of what transpired through the consultancy. So it's certainly something that we can consider even for the, in the new expansion of the REMDAP. So where there are other regional systems in play that were not considered originally, these can be taken into consideration in the expansion of the REMDAP. So it's not just the countries, but also the countries that were stated, but also taking into consideration any new or emerging systems within the region. So, and this in particular, the land-based sources of pollution. Thank you. I see Chamberlain would like to add.
No, I think, no, well answered. I think I just want to emphasize that the reverse is also true. That we hope that as new projects come on board, they recognize the existence of this platform and don't reinvent the wheel. Because we need, as we partner together and we pull our resources, then we need to ensure sustainability. Sustainability is critical. We've had a history of well-designed and put together excellent technical platforms. That is the easy part. We have brilliant technicians who can do that all the time. The real issue is sustainability. And that sustainability, I think that there are projects that come through the region from various entry points. And I think the partners in the room, there are various funded partners, development partners in the room. We really need to work closer together. I think this has been demonstrated well so far. And I think there is additional opportunity for that collaboration to continue. From the issue of DOMREP and other countries, obviously as OECS, our primary mandate is for the OECS member states. That's why we've found a way to pull in the others not included, but through collaboration with CAFA, CARICOM mandate, then, you know, the platform is obviously available to take in the broader region.
Okay, so I see two more questions. Just in light of time, we do have another meeting starting at 11. So these two questions, and then we may have to go to closing. So thank you, Donna Sue.
Morning, everyone. Mine is not so much a question as a clarification.
Sure.
Right. I think we need to remember the way this developed. The REMDAP started with a needs assessment, which was done for all of the IWECO countries. And based on that, that's what developed the terms of reference for hiring of the consultants. It became very apparent to the Cartagena Convention Secretariat and to the PCU, the Project Coordination Unit, that sustainability was going to be the issue. And it was for that reason, essentially, that the OECS took it forward. Because the OECS, within the IWECO family, seemed to be the only entity that was ready to take it forward. And to be able to do it, the OECS had to build on what they already had happening with other projects. So it's the best opportunity for sustainability, because probably everyone in the room is aware of platforms that have been developed over the years that that have not gone anywhere. And it remains a sustainability. This is not going to take care of the issue of sustainability. It continues because even as I speak, the countries that have put into developing the REMDAP, because to do this, every country taking part had to have a representative who was prepared to take part in the training. And now going forward also has to be prepared to put data into the system to help build it. But even getting the nomination from some of the countries for the person who will continue, who will be given the kind of access that's needed, has proven to be a challenge. So this is not the end of it. This is something that the countries participating need to come. We recognize and we are very aware of the deficiencies in terms of managing to cover all of the IWECO countries. We recognize that Cuba and the Dominican Republic in particular have strengths in terms of their own national environmental systems. And we hope that the system can be, that they can find a way to put in and to take out in terms of the sharing. And it is an ongoing process, which is going to continue to be challenging to the OECS. And last word, we really, really thank the OECS and CAFA for taking this forward, because without its support, this would not have been possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna Sue. Okay, so we have another question.
Thank you, and good morning. As Isabel introduced myself, just Laverne Walker. I am now the new AMEP Program Management Officer at UNEP, the Cartagena Convention Secretariat. This is not a question, this is just information that I am sharing, and it is in relation to the questions posed by Isabel. So first, I want to indicate that under another UNEP Jeff IWECO project, Crew Plus, the Secretariat also developed a regional environment monitoring platform through UNEP Geneva GRID, and this is basically to, again, to make environmental data more accessible and to allow the countries to report on their national environment obligations under the Cartagena Convention. It is also to support, it will also support the periodical development and updating of the state of report, so both for pollution and biodiversity. I'm saying this because it is fairly new. It was developed late last year. REMDAP is new, and there are a number of external data and platforms. I'm currently on the website that are linked to it, like the Caribbean Marine Atlas, CMA2, I think that was in my previous life, the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism. So I think this is an opportunity for REMDAP to actually link to that platform as well, and it is available widely to all our contracting parties, including the Dominican Republic and Cuba, those countries that are not OECS, so they can insert their environmental data. I guess the only thing is that it is more or less related to marine environmental data because it is based on us. And to let Isabel know that in as well in discussion with ProCaribe Plus, we have also raised and shared the link to the platform with Patrick Devils, the project coordinator for the new ProCaribe Plus project. So they are aware of that linkage as they move forward with their own data platform. So I just wanted to share this. Thank you.
Thank you for that information, Laverne. Thank you so much. Actually, that is also linked to the REMDAP. So we already have that linkage, which is wonderful, really. So we're seeing more synergies, more linkages. So we've come to the creation of the REMDAP, and it's certainly good to know that this portal is currently assisting countries with access to data and the visualization of trends. I thank you for your attention and encourage continued collaboration and partnership as we seek to improve regions served downstairs. Thank you again.
if I may take the prerogative of the head table, to once again just thank our partners, UNEP, and the co-chair and co-partner in leading this initiative. And also want to, in particular, thank Fazana from the OECS for really leading on this initiative in an excellent way, and the support that we had from Joan and others internally. And we just hope it meets, as you said, as we continue the journey, that we'll be able to reach our aspirations. So thank you so much.
Thank you to the entire team. Okay, so I don't want to stand between you and refreshments. The refreshments are downstairs. For those of you who will be joining in the meeting that is meant to start at 11, that is the IWRM sensitization meeting. We will have to start that just a little later. I suggest 11:15, that we start that at 11:15.